thumbs up if you enjoy One Piece episode 1074, the episode where Luffy sets up the Bajran gun and he's ready to end the fight against Kaido. Because I most certainly do, and I would argue that it is one of the best episodes of One Piece to this day.
To this day!
It takes my breath away when you see the Luffy versus Kaido section, when Luffy absolutely loses it, and Kaido is able to counter, and he relies on Haki first and foremost, delivering the Death Destroyer Thunder Bagua. Personally, I would say this is the best fight section sequence in the entire anime of One Piece. Probably movies too. Actually, yeah, movies too. This fight sequence is god tier. It is honestly one of the best I've ever seen in anime history. Now, that may be a bold claim, because a lot of shows have great sequences, but 1074, Luffy versus Kaido, is up there, I would argue easily, in the best of all time.
That's right.
We see the thumbnail, and you see a manga Luffy, and then you see anime Luffy. What's going on there? One of the quintessential reasons why I love this sequence so much in 1074, and I love it so much, honestly, a quick shout out to the animators that are part in the creation of that scene. So shout outs to Yen BM, shout outs to Keisuke Okura, shout outs to Vincent Chansard, popular name nowadays, Shu Sugita, Sota Shigetsuru, and Yu Yoshiyama. Shout outs to all of them, because what they did is what I was hoping to see the Gear 5 version of Luffy do in the anime compared to the manga, which is dive deeper into the possibilities of what Gear 5 could do beyond what Oda could show at that point in time in the manga version of Gear 5 Luffy. And in the equivalent chapter of the episode 1047, chapter 1047, where we do see Luffy throw the lightning bolt at Kaido, we do see him grab the boat, spin around the boat, and do all that fun stuff, the anime takes it to absolutely absurd, untold godlike levels, where Luffy goes inverted sky, grabs onto a cloud, holds the cloud like it was a platform of some sort of crazy inverted Smash Brothers stage, then he smacks the cloud, turns it into rubber, grabs a lightning horde, and he throws the lightning spaghetti strings at Kaido. To this day, that moment is immaculate, particularly when you have the Gear 2 pose when he does that, and those crazy impact frames, and one of them is a manga impact frame. It's delicious. It was definitely a step above episode 1072, where they do add that whole Sonic stage thing, which mind you was great, and then he grabs the ground, this little counterflow thing, bounces around, hits Kai on the gut. All that was fantastic, but 1074 was like a true blue, this is Gear 5 Luffy. The Gear 5 Luffy that not even Oda can show you. Whatever the manga does, the anime pulls out the Super Saiyan 3 quote, is to go even further beyond. And I got similar vibes in the latest episode of One Piece, 1100. The recent Luffy versus Rob Lucci greatness. From high key moments when Luffy becomes a monarch threat and he does the King Kong, which is not in the manga, he starts beating his chest, and it is possibly, no, it actually probably is, the best Gear 5 transformation that we've seen in the anime or even the manga. And even the low key moments, like when after he devastates Rob Gooch, when he blitzed him, and Lucci could see this demon Gear 5 Luffy in his eyes. Luffy then stumbles, fumbles, then lands on one of the random dust clouds. That's rubber. And boy's just vibing. Gear 5 is factually better in the anime than it is in the manga. I'm saying factually, like undisputedly better. Between the two mediums, anime is just slapping. And it makes the most sense considering what they can do with the anime version compared to the manga version. So being a manga only reader of One Piece in 2024. I want to use the R word.
Boy.
I shouldn't use the R word. I'm going to use the R word.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah, here, saddle up. In retrospect, it's kind of ridiculous. Being a manga-only reader of One Piece in this day and age doesn't make much sense. I can understand back in the day, let's say Whole Cake Island and before. I would even say during Whole Cake Island, it was kind of getting to the point where the anime was getting better to where it was definitely serviceable way more compared to, let's say, Dressrosa, where the manga was definitively better. The manga was definitively better for a long stretch of time in the One Piece franchise, for sure. I'd argue for sure. But I would say with absolute conviction, when Wano Country started, when we saw Zoro fight against all those samurai, and we see him do that crazy Tatsumaki tornado and so on, the game kind of changed because Toei Animation started taking animation itself, production, a lot more serious. You could argue because of the rise of Demon Slayer, a franchise that has been piggybacked, carried massively by Ufotable's fantastic animation, where before Ufotable, Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba wasn't even in the top 10 best-selling manga of 2018 or 2017. And then after Ufotable, it's beating out One Piece in spades, like, because animation quality matters. And I think Toei started to realize that, particularly when JJK, when Chainsaw Man, and probably beforehand too, with Attack on Titan and My Hero Academia putting out better animation than One Piece was on a regular basis. When various other series were coming out and they were having, on a regular basis, high quality animation. Is competition the only reason why Toei Animation probably tried to uptick their animation quality? No. But I'm willing to bet, again, it is one of the primary reasons. And in terms of the fundamental difference between certain mediums like manga and anime and so on, live action and so on, the manga does have, of course, benefits that the anime can never, let's say, reproduce. Like, for example, you get to read the story at your own pace. Even though 1100 is amazing, apparently it is one of the highest, if not the highest rated episode on IMDb. Episode for sure is at least a 9 out of 10. But episode 1099, when we see Alice just charge her punch for about a good 15 minutes before she swings and a miss at Rob Bellucci, yeah, that's yeah, not the greatest for sure. And the manga version, nowhere near as egregious. And that is an example of not only Oda's pace kind of being more beneficial in the manga version compared to the anime version, but obviously you get to read it at your own pace when you're rolling through and scrolling through the manga. You get to imagine the characters' voices, the tones, the settings, other elements. And there's a lot of free-thinking creativity that you yourself as the reader can kind of postulate when you're reading a manga chapter from page to page to page to page to page. Animes can't necessarily duplicate that. But in terms of, let's say, the choreography, in terms of cinematography, sound effects, lighting, so on and so forth, the anime will have its advantages over the manga, for sure. Animes have their advantages over the manga. I remember at the beginning of Wild Country Act 1, there were a lot of takes on how Orochi would sound like, shout out to Tekken, where he had his own take on Orochi.
Good. Komurasaki.
Well, Orochi sounded differently than Tekken's version, and I love Orochi's voice actor in the anime.
Soka. Komurasaki.
Queen! I thought it was gonna have like a high-pitched, squeaky voice. Queen comes in with that bass. All about the bass. Damn! Queen came in with the sauce, and even in the dub version, where Queen also has a very damn good dub voice actor. Absolute. So once again, both mediums have their advantages for sure over the other. But the medium that is the most conducive, I think, to the main character's most iconic form, the Gear 5 form, the form that we see on the billboards, that we see in the commercials, that's like all over the openings, the form that honestly Luffy may find the One Piece treasure when he's in Gear 5. That is how much of a staple the Gear 5 form is going to be, I think, moving forward until the story itself is over or he has a new form. But I highly doubt there's gonna be a Gear 6. I definitely do. But that being said, the anime, I think the advantages there are the most conducive to Luffy's Gear 5. Whatever Oda can do in the manga, the anime can magnify, amplify that in orders of magnitude, not just with the actual on-panel content, but also the added content that the anime does for all of these scenes with Gear 5 Luffy currently, Wano Country, and then in the future. Because seemingly Toei's commitment to better animation quality means that they'll continue to onboard groups and people like Yen BM, like Akihiro Ota, who came back, like Tu Young-se, and Vincent Chansard, and now Toshi Shida. A lot of these great animators seem to be down to doing One Piece animation content for the long haul. And a lot of that, for sure, is going to be dedicated to Gear 5 Luffy. Obviously, it made a lot more sense to be a manga-only reader back in the day where Toei didn't necessarily care that much about high quality scenes on a regular basis. And obviously, as of late, they still have to, let's say, take the time to do these specials or these sort of breaks so they have enough time to focus on animation quality, good pacing, and so on and so forth. It is the dance Toei has to play since One Piece is an ongoing series when it comes to the anime, and it's not a seasonal one. Season ones can afford to do X, Y, Z, and the other, but then even still, they have their issues. Like, for example, JJK. Mappa last year became pretty notorious, very infamous for what they were doing to a lot of the JJK animators and staff. The animation quality they wanted was off the charts, and the deadlines that they were forcing on the animators was way too quick. It was not enough time to get things done that they actually wanted, the supreme Sakuga animation. But Toei Animation seemed to have a pretty, I would argue so far, they've done a pretty damn good job on average when it comes to most of these Sakuga moments and so on between Wano Country and Egget Island thus far. And behind the scenes, it's been pretty quiet at Toei Animation headquarters because I haven't heard a single thing about animators being treated like dog fecal matter the same way they were in Mappa. So if it's quiet, it's probably a good thing. And it looks like they're going to maintain form for, let's say, I'd argue for probably the rest of the final saga, for the rest of the story, because the benefits are as clear as crystal. Eyeballs, viewership, merchandise sales, and so on and so forth. And let's say even if Toei Animation didn't care, ladies and gentlemen, there's still the One Piece coming out in the future. Whenever we get to the One Piece Gear 5 in 2035, how crazy, how wonky, how intense is that version going to be? And is that version going to be better than the Toei version? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see in the future. But will it be better than the manga version? I'm confident there's a good chance it will be better than the manga version, because the advantages of the anime for Gear 5 Luffy, the main character of the story, supersede that of the manga. If you're a manga-only reader and you don't care about Luffy and Gear 5 at all, but you still read the manga One Piece, then you know what? More power to you. But I would say the vast majority of people that read the One Piece manga also enjoy Monkey D's as Luffy. And if that's the case, then once again, you should, if you haven't done so already, you have to watch the anime. If not Toei, then at least wait for the One Piece, right? Because I would argue right now for Toei, and I would speculate confidently for the future for the One Piece and Witch Studios, you're missing out on the best Gear 5 content possible. But I could be wrong. Let me know your stance on the subject matter at hand. If you enjoy this content, make sure you give a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and click on that bell to join the notification squad. I'm gonna catch you guys on the flip side.
See you. Bye bye.